some of the greatest champions we've had, they transition categories. Do not pick the category. Allow the category to pick you. He said he is Phil Heath 2.0. Do you agree with that statement?
No.
Athletes and fans around the world, welcome to another episode of Primetime Muscle. It's great to have you with us. I'm Tim Wilkins. As always, joined by these two titans of the sport. Where do I start?
Me.
Chris Cormier, the real deal. What's up, man? How are you?
What's up, my brother?
Looking
What's
well,
up?
my friend. You look
Thank
good.
you. I put on my best suit.
I like it.
It's my best one I got.
Yeah. You know, when they set out and they sent us an example, they said, we want this to feel like that NBA prime time. What was that, NBA
right.
tonight?
Inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA
Yeah.
with Shaq and Charles.
Yes.
You two have lived
so you
that.
have to be that.
You two have lived that. I can't be any more proud of the two
They
of you.
do replace guys sometimes, right?
And if you gotta
when one of
move-
the guys cannot make it, they bring Chris Webber or Vince Carter, right?
And if you
So-
got to move some furniture, you got to move some furniture.
Chris, let's be very technical about it, okay? I'm 10 years younger than you. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you ever
And I'm
want
a top wrestler.
if you ever want to
Top
move
American
some furniture,
wrestler. Top
if
American
you ever
wrestler.
want to move some furniture,
Yeah.
I will beat the hell out of you so convincingly. You won't be able to make it to the show
Well,
if it's not on a wheelchair.
I saw you sumo. I saw you doing the sumo wrestling.
I
over
did
in Reno.
sumo, by the way, guys. I did some sumo at the Legion Sports Festival. Who wants a fight at the Olympia? Sumo fight between Chris Cormier and I.
I want the two of you in sumo suits. I want your comments on that. Vote for the sumo fight between these two guys.
Let's go.
We don't need a traditional between your wrestling and
I'll be
your black
ready.
belt. We don't need anybody in belts. We need you two in sumo suits at the press conference. We need Chickarella to go, all right, bro, bring it out, bro, smash.
Oh, man.
That would be a good
I would
show.
take you the hell out. That's what I would do. And
So Martin
bring your wife, too. Bring your wife. Bring your pretty little wife to see this. Hey, woman. Hey, woman. I bet you love to see a real man at night.
So, before we get a new sponsor, which is probably going to be Rooms to Go or
The
Aaron,
new sponsor is going to be life insurance. It's going to be called Bringing Black Back from the Dead. My wife loves me. She also loves Chris. She thinks Chris is very funny. She tells me every time, be nice to Chris. He couldn't get a job anywhere else.
now you have two kids. One is definitely Camp Tarek,
Yeah, that's my son. He's a loyal one, yes.
and then you have one beautiful daughter who is Camp
Team Cormier all the
She's
way.
Team Cormier,
She's
yeah.
Team
Every
Cormier.
time.
Scarlett, yeah.
Every
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Every time.
And you know what? She's 7 years old.
And when I pull
and
up,
she has a little friend in school that she likes, and she keeps telling me I'm gonna marry Jason. And Jason is dark-skinned black kid, and I think my daughter has a thing for black guys. She loves Chris Cormier. She loves Jason. Hopefully she marries a more successful athlete than Chris. Scarlett, get a nice NFL player,
Come on,
quarterback,
Scarlett.
okay?
keep doing your thing, Scarlett. Team Cormier.
So we got one guy this week. That's me. That is Camp Fitzwater. You talk about the shows that he's won recently, but he won a lot of fans at the Olympia last year, placing a very dominant fourth. He came in and showed up and showed out, and really made a statement for himself.
Man, I think he has so much potential to do even more than what he did. I mean, just bringing that conditioning that he did last year at the Olympia, I mean, just carbon copy of that and just a tad bit more is going to be all he needs to
Now, Broderick Christopher Cormier,
do. Yes,
I have a question for you.
yes,
He said he is Phil Heath 2.0. Do you agree with that statement?
no.
Okay, so can you elaborate?
I just think Phil was Phil. Phil was a phenom from the start as far as how he looked, how he presented, himself the whole time. He won so many Olympias. I just think that's a different for me.
So he was the gift. I would rather think he's the gifted. Because when you take a physique, you always talk about genetics. When you take a physique like Phil's that looked that good as a basketball player and then made the move into bodybuilding and went that far without really pushing his physique all the way, and then when he jumped in, taking that time off and then jumping onto the Olympia stage.
The back double bicep, the
just
hamstrings, the hamstring zipper move. Like it's not many people like that in the history of sport.
I love Martin. Martin is a great bodybuilder. I like the aspirational, him calling himself 2.0 Phil Heath. I think there's still a significant distance between him and Phil, but I do like his appetite to be the best. When he showed up at the Olympia 2024, he was the story of the show. Everybody was talking about him. Impressive. He was big. He was conditioned. He posed well. And he did really well. Now, he was disappointed in Pittsburgh because there was some talk about he could have been third. And he welcomed that talk. He's like, yeah, I could have beaten, Derek, or Derek and I were close. He had his opportunity in Pittsburgh to go after Derek and Nick, and he didn't. The final call out was Nick Walker and Derek Lunsford. Now, he had placed second to Nick, and they had a little rivalry right there. Remember?
As Detroit?
No, it was New York Pro.
New York Pro, and then he went to Detroit and qualified shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
No, he had won Detroit. Went to New York, took second to Nick Walker. He said, I beat Nick Walker. Nick Walker did not take those words lightly. And so Martin was coming up strong. And when Pittsburgh came, we're like, this guy's going to mix. It's going to be Nick, Martin, and Derek. And it didn't pan out like that. And then he was disappointed. He even posted between prejudging and finals. He said, I'm sorry. I told him not to do that. You don't need to be sorry about anything. You did great. You're one of the best in the world. But he has a chip on his shoulder right now because people are talking about Hadi, Samson, Derek, and Nick. They're not talking about him as much. And he is the one that placed fourth. So there's only two directions for Martin Fitzwater at this Olympia. Only two directions. If he places fourth, he's ahead of Nick Walker, or ahead of Hadi or Samson, or ahead of Derek, right? Because Nick Walker right now would be the fourth ranked guy. He hasn't won the Olympia, but he's beaten Martin. He's beaten everybody else. If he places ahead of some of those guys, he's going up. So Martin Fitzwater, after this Olympia, his ranking either goes up or down, but he's not going to stay the same.
But I'm telling you, back in 2022, he was making remarks about Andrew Jack, about he's not going to show up at the competition in the Arnold Classic. I think more it's between him and Andrew Jack, because Andrew wasn't in shape at the Olympia like he should have been, and he placed ahead of him. But when Andrew Jack's been in shape, he's been having a tough time with him. So I feel like that's more of where he needs to get over the hump, is with an in-shape Andrew Jack.
Now, I love check-in pictures. Check-ins don't tell the story until we get really close to the show, and even then, they don't always transition from Monday to Saturday night. But this was the package last year, and it was phenomenal. It looks like he's put on a lot of size from last year. Not that he needed to, but he's put on a lot of size.
He's bigger, the waist still small. What missed in Pittsburgh was the separation that we saw at the Olympia. He didn't have that separation. I would be cautious because Martin is Derek Lunsford and Hadi Chupin. He's got even a smaller waist than them. I would be cautious trying to put a lot of weight because Derek and Hadi, their waist has expanded to the sides. That's you just look at pictures from them 5 years ago. Martin still has a small waist. You keep doing some crazy lifting with Brett Wilkin at the gym, trying to punish the squat machine. that waist is going to expand. And then, brother, you're not going to be Phil Heath 2.0. You're going in a different direction. So you want to be careful with gaining mass, especially when you're small jointed, like Martin Fitzwater.
Gaining mass. So you have a
anyway.
physique. Bodybuilding starts with the waist, ends with the waist. For me, for this type of physique, if you see in the front last spread here, I mean, I just think putting on a lot of mass, like you got to be careful with the height of the person, with the width of the frame. So when you're coming into a competition, there's a certain size that you want to stay at or make bigger or keep the same. So you don't just get big as you can. It's not like that, right? So as a judge, I mean, you're judging a physique like this, you want to improve here. Some more shoulders would be great on his physique. You can never really go too big on the shoulders until you get just crazy with it. Developing the back more, posing that body to the best of your ability. When you start to gain more mass, you could change the poses, more effective poses in order to place better or to look better in certain poses. So with him, his waist is probably about 4 strong abdominal muscles. So with that, you can't just be as big as you can get on top. You have to artistically put that body together.
Now, Chris, let me ask you this, because this is one of those things. That waist is beautiful, a little more size than the legs, shoulders, and lats, and that waist is going to stay small. So that waist will naturally expand a little from those heavy deads and the heavy squats. But if you can make the legs a little bigger, you're going to continue to keep the illusion alive. A little bigger shoulders and lats, a little bigger legs, and it's going to offset even more growth in the waist that's inevitable with size.
Yes, and all your attributes come into play. How long your arms are, how short your arms are, all that stuff comes into play when you putting together a physique. I would like to see a little bit more of the back improve for Martin. I think that's going to help him when he's going against some of these guys that have awesome backs, like the people who are in front of him.
Yeah.
So that's going to be one thing he's going to need to do. I think he has enough size, what I've seen so far. I think it's just going to be about conditioning. And if he did conditioning like we did last year, that's when the judges rewarded him.
Now, Tarek, so you're saying really there's a big matchup between him and Nick again. Come back to the Olympia, and with this waist, and that's been a struggle for Nick. He's really worked on dialing that in from front to side. He's made huge strides, but a conditioned Martin against a conditioned Nick, where are we at with aesthetics?
I think a conditioned Nick is ahead of Martin Fitzwater. And even if Martin Fitzwater was at his best in Pittsburgh, I think it would have been hard for him to beat Nick Walker. We don't know the improvements that Martin Fitzwater has made for this Olympia. But right now, if I were to speculate, I would think Nick is ahead of him. Chris Cormier mentioned that he's got to worry about the comparison with Andrew Jack. That's a problem because he beat Andrew Jack. You don't want to be compared by a guy that you already beat. You want to be compared with a guy that you were not compared that's ahead of you, and that's Derek Lunsford. So Martin Fitzwater really impressed the hell out of people in New York, even though he took second, because now people started looking at Nick Walker not as his best and Martin at his best and going like, well, hold on, is Martin that good? Martin Fitzwater needs to put Andrew Jack behind him and say, I've beaten this guy, I'm never losing to him again. Martin Fitzwater needs to look at Derek Lunsford. He needs to look at Nick Walker and say, put me next to this guys. I am short like Derek and Hottie. I can be conditioned like Nick. I have a small waist and all of them. I gotta be in the mix. If he's on a second call out, let's suppose there's a first call out, 4 guys.
You're 6 deep on that first call out.
What's that?
You're 6 deep on that first call out.
So, well, it could be 8, it could be 6, but if he is in 5th and 6th place, fighting for those spots with guys, whoever is that, it's a loss.
Yeah.
It's a loss. Where does he want to be? He wants to be in the final 4 right there, a call out with Derek Sampson and Hadi and put Nick behind him or Derek behind him or any of them. So it's hard for a guy like him to take a step back. I'm surprised you mentioned him with Andrew Jack. Why did you do that?
Well, if you think back when they were going head to head at the Texas, at the Arnold UK, stuff like this, it was a lot of chirping. He was thinking that
They call him a box of chocolate milk.
Yeah. So there's a lot of chirping. And then Andrew Jack came out with the Cry Me a River song in the UK that year. I think that was year 22. And then, he got some gig back because, he was better than him there. But when they were going head to head, back and forth, when there's only basically them two to look at, he had a tough time with him when he was in top shape. And he was off at the Olympia this year. And Martin fought his way up to the fourth. He wasn't like projected in that area.
Well, he beat Hunter. So, once you beat these guys, you got to put them behind.
But you can't say that because we was going back and forth. Someone beat me this week, but yes, guess what? I turned the tables the next week.
Well,
it can happen.
And Hunter's out this year. He's taking a year off, and he just put out a video recently just kind of detailing his challenges. And when he comes back next year, he's going to be at full strength for the first time in about 6 or 7 years. And I'm really excited for that. Martin, though, we're going to wrap here, but Martin has kind of exiled himself to Texas. And we know Texas turns out some hard people, champions. Texas, they get hard in Texas. That's where all the Navy SEALs come from. They're tough. It's a tough country. So I'm expecting big things for him.
Let's go, Martin.
The Martian.
Let's go.
We'll see what you bring to this year's Olympia. We are just a few weeks away from finding out exactly what you're going to do on stage this year and where everybody's going to place. Looking forward to more updates as we get closer. Speaking of closer, we're getting closer to that next segment when we come back right after this. All right, here's another one. Tarek sent the segments out for this one, and I read it, and it said, athletes who are transitioning. And I said, really, Tarek? Is that? And then I come up, and on the big board it says switch hitters. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on. But you said, thankfully, you
switch hitter.
Little clarification. You said guys who are transitioning from one category or division to the next, from classic to open to 212 to classic and back and forth, like Horse MD, who's going from open to classic.
Yes, when I said transitioning, you thought that they were doing a Kris Jenner type of thing?
Yeah.
Kris Jenner, or what's the name? Is it
Caitlyn now? It's Caitlyn.
Caitlyn.
Yeah.
He was Chris?
He was no, he was Chris was the wife.
Chris is the wife.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's Caitlyn Jenner. No, I do think these guys are maintaining the gender they were born with, and but we're talking about them transitioning from one category to another. So you talk about Fabian Meyer. Fabian Meyer is a great classic physique competitor. He's won shows and he's been to the Olympia. Great conditioning. He's actually beaten Ramon before. He came in to the show in Portugal, and as soon as I saw him, I said, There is no possible way this guy is going to make weight. His chest came into the room 5 seconds before his head. He looked ridiculously big, massive. Sure enough, Patrick Tour was there. We measured him. He's like 3 kilos off. And Patrick is like, oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
like 7 pounds.
I'm sorry. You know, we really gained a lot of size. You know, can you wait, 30 minutes? And I'm like, what are you going to do? Remove his testicles? Cut off his ears? This is dangerous, guys. So I called the office and I said, if a competitor cannot make weight in Classic, can we transition him to Open? And their answer was yes. The guy is there. He can't compete in Classic. Let's have him compete in Open. The guy went on and he's like on the first call out, posing with Rubiel Mosquera, Nathan Diasha, and Bruno Santos. So great performance. It happens, and I welcome that. I don't think people should be that fearful of changing categories.
Wait, some of my favorites, like Logan Franklin went up from Physique to Classic. And you got a lot of guys that have climbed over the years. And women have gone from bikini, like Natalia Coelho, from bikini to figure to women's physique. You let your body dictate where it needs to be. You don't try to force it into that spot.
Watch this. Watch this. Put the camera on me right now. Athletes and fans of bodybuilding, some of the greatest champions we've had, they transition categories. Chris Bumstead, Breon Ansley, Angelica Teixeira, Latoria Watts. You do not pick the category. Allow the category to pick you.
All right. I
And
like that.
cut. Good. Nice. Heavy.
I just want to say one thing about Fabian. He's not switching categories. He's not. He missed the weight. He had to do Open. He loves Classic. He said his heart beats in Classic. He feels that he can be one of the best in the sport for Classic. So that was then, but he's actually going to remain in Classic. So there you go.
Madelman.
Well, he was trying to do Classic. This is actually a funny story. He was trying to do Classic and he couldn't make weight. He missed some shows because he couldn't make weight. And then he decided to grow his hair. So he had his hair grow so he would measure higher. And then Bill Sibilia would measure from the sides. It was just funny stuff.
His hair grew.
And eventually, people told him, switch to Open. Switch to 212. Switch to 212. He goes in his first show as a 212, wins the show, and earns his qualification. He should have been a 212 all along. All along. He's got beautiful lines. He posed well. When you guys see him at the Olympia, you are going to be surprised. People need to stop being fearful of changing categories. Fabian Meyer did the Classic one time. I mean, one show. That's not going to be the end of your life. Just do one show and try it. He's going to the Olympia. Look, tell me about this physique, Chris.
Oh,
right here, Madelman, right here. Tell me about this physique. Isn't this a great 212 physique?
oh yes, it's a great physique altogether. I mean, the separation in the quads, those bicep peaks. I mean, that's what a class competitor can dream of. But that's one of the best arms in the 212 right now, if you ask me. I mean, look at that's just prototypical bodybuilder right there. The small waist, the flaring lats, the separation quads there. And then that's where it's not like big old huge sweeping legs. It's just diced out separation. And that's all it takes right there for a great physique. Great posing. I mean, he can get a little bit more out of the back, but I mean, look at the thickness in the back and the striated glutes and the hamstrings. Everything's there.
You're telling me that Fabian Meyer is not going to go to Open again. Look at the size of his legs. You're telling me he's going to suffer to lose weight his entire life and hope for the best?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I mean,
that's what he's saying.
He's got great structure. Look at Madelman. I think he could be on the first call out.
Look at the
Horse
striations.
MD. Horse MD placed second in the Open, but couldn't get his Olympia qualification. His first show as a classic physique, he's making it to the Olympia. Tim Wilkins mentioned well, Natalia Coelho. I judge Natalia Coelho as a figure competitor. Now she's won the Olympia as women's physique. Andrea Shaw, she started in figure, she went to women's physique, now she's in open bodybuilding, and she's the best. It's almost like the majority of people that have won the Olympia in other categories, they have switched. Chris Bumstead, Brianna Ansley, Angelica Teixeira, Latoria
Derek
Watts.
Lunsford.
Derek Lunsford.
212 up to open and
Correct.
one.
Yeah.
What is the fear? Why don't you try one show, a different category? Oh, listen, you can come right back.
Okay, speaking of coming right back, Clarita went from being the 212 Olympia giant killer, won a couple open shows, popped back down, giant killer again, went back to 212 and won again.
He's
Where'd I go?
no, but I mean, as your body develops and you're going to the gym, you're training, your body's growing, you might look better with your frame and your height at a different category. That's what they're saying.
Just try it. I recommend as a judge. I see it all the time. And now we have some bikini competitors that were not completely satisfied with their pro careers coming back as fit model.
Yeah.
Of course, come back and try a different category. Guys, you don't know your full potential until you've exhausted all choices. And I think this is one of the greatest advantages in the IFBB Pro League. We have a plethora of categories where you can try to fulfill your potential on each one of them. You might not want to do women's bodybuilding because you don't have the ability to gain that much muscle. But hey, figure is right there. Go ahead. Latoria Watts, who won the Olympia, started in bikini. She had 2 big quads. And we kept telling her, you need to reduce the
And
quads.
calves.
You need to reduce the quads. And eventually she said, to hell with that. I'm going to keep my quads and I'm going to win the figure champion.
Well,
How did that work out for her?
Shanique's coming
Worked
back
out
in
great.
wellness.
Shanique came back in wellness, looked incredible. She still has that small waist. She needs to gain a little bit of glutes and legs, but she's a fantastic competitor.
It's always one of the ones that could definitely use more quality guys. And no offense to the guys that are there now, but with Keon at the top of 212, there's only a couple other guys in that number 2 to 4 spot that are kind of the fixtures. We need some fresh blood in the 212. So if you're going to transition, you can't make weight in Classic, come on over.
Look at this.
Look at this beautiful physique.
Madelman from Spain. Beautiful physique. Look at the legs. He dominated. I'm proud of him. I think more people should switch categories. If Chris, switched to Classic when he was competing, he would have done well. You think you could have made
yeah.
weight? Because
Maybe.
especially in the early years of your career, you and Flex, right?
Yeah. I mean, I turned pro at 224, started competing in my first few years in the 30s, and I was trying to gain weight. I was trying to get a little bit heavier so I can be more effective. But if I could have
But you're a bit short. Maybe 230 would have been a bit too much.
230 would be hard.
Yeah. But Flex was 210. He was a little lighter. Could you imagine if Flex was taller than you, right? Imagine Flex Wheeler in Classic Physique. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. He actually did it towards the end. He came back and did it, but wasn't very successful, but he tried it.
Well, Horse MD made that drop from open down to Classic and qualified right away.
Absolutely. He looked humongous. One of the things is when he was in open, he's posing next to Bruce Tabani and Samson Dauda. Not a very welcoming thing to do in this planet. People put you right between them. So here he goes, gets into Classic, hits a front double biceps. There's one guy to his left and another guy to his right. Both of them are the size of his legs. He's like, I'm a big dude here. I'm going to prevail. And so he did.
That's how he came together. And like you said, if he build that back up a little bit more, he's going to be very, very hard to beat in the Classic.
Well, we'd like to leave you with a takeaway always, or some posing tips or nutrition. I think that was the greatest advice. You've given it before, but I think that's the clearest you've vocalized that. Let the category pick you. If your body's outgrowing or if your body's more comfortable in a different category, try it out. Don't be too fixated on this is who I am.
Absolutely, I welcome that. Guys, based on my experience, switching categories can be extremely beneficial to your career. Try it. It's just one show. It won't hurt you. Bumstead benefited from it. Breon Ansley, Latoria Watts, Angelica Teixeira, Natalia Coelho. I welcome that. We have plenty of categories, and you should try it.
Let's transition into a sponsor shout out.
Yeah. Once again, my favorite,
that was good.
my favorite product is if you're transitioning from out of shape to in shape. My favorite product is the Pro Zero from Global Formulas. A lot of people are concerned about the nutritional facts in protein going into their competition. They look at the label and they go, oh boy, I'd love to have this shake, but it has 3 grams of sugar. It has 4 grams of fat. There's all kinds of stuff. This is Pro Zero from Global Formulas. You know what they have? They have 0 carbs. They have 0 sugar, 0 fat, and 0 cholesterol. So when you take 2 scoops of this, all you're getting is 25 grams of protein. You know what's in your body.
Well,
Important, right,
with
Chris?
that being said, we are going to shuffle back to you for all the likes, all the.
We're going to go back to that part that we like. As always, give us your thought
Get the likes.
on picking your category. If you've changed categories, tell us how you did or how it worked for you. Share with your friends, of course. Like, if you don't already subscribe to Olympia TV and Primetime Muscle, you want to make sure you get all the latest episodes. If you've got someone you think we should cover, please let us know who that is. Give us your thoughts on Martin Fitzwater and where you think he's going to come in that top of the Olympia contenders this year. Only a few more weeks, Tarek.
I'm ready. The Olympia is going to be epic. Once again, I was invited to judge the Mr. Olympia. Great honor. I wanted to thank President Jim Mannion, Tyler Mannion, for the trust. I judged a lot of shows, and I'm glad to be on the judging panel for the 2025 Mr. Olympia.
My friends from the Lifted podcast, they're going to be doing the Olympia Amateur this year, which I'm going to be emceeing for the 6th or 7th year. Competitors from all over the world. We always have at least 5 people with more than 25 letters in their name from all over the world. Some big names.
With 25 letters.
25, just the last name.
Wow.
25 letters.
Damn.
Yeah, it's something to do. You got all kinds of people that you've got. Breon, of course. You're going to be helping Nexzilla some more?
Oh yeah, we're gonna be camped out in Las Vegas, and hopefully
you got some ladies.
Ladies.
You had some you helped turn pro the last couple of years. You were giving some hugs and some high fives.
Oh yeah, I was at the. I was very successful in the ladies division a couple years ago.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
It was what, women's physique.
Margarita.
Margarita and
you
were
Facino.
very successful with
Margarita and Facino won the whole thing. The overall for the women's physique and also the bodybuilding.
As her coach.
Maryland won the overall bodybuilding.
Camp Cormier.
You
were trying to get him in trouble, weren't you? Very successful with the ladies in Vegas 2 years ago.
I mean, that's what I understood.
Yeah, it came across weird. All right, folks. We appreciate you as always. Hype me up. We appreciate you as always for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Primetime Muscle.